Morning students, I am Anita Shah, your biology teacher from Asian International School. Today we will learn about the fundamental unit of life. In this chapter, Robert Hooke, he has taken a thin slice of cork cells. Now what is cork? Cork is a substance which we obtain from the bark of a tree. When he placed under the self-designed microscope, he saw that there are fine compartments, there are small boxes, which he referred as cells, which he coined as cells. So who coined the term cell? Robert Hooke coined the term cell in the year 1665. Later on, Leeuwenhoek in 1674, he has observed a free-living cell in pond water. Then Robert Brown discovered nucleus in the year 1831. So who discovered nucleus? Robert Brown. Robert Brown in the year 1831, he has discovered a nucleus. Later on, Purkinje in the year 1839, he discovered protoplasm. Now we will study about what is cell. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Now, we all know that all the living organisms are made up of cells. Without cell, no living organism could exist. We will call it as a non-living thing if there is no cell. It is the basic structural and functional unit of life. All the cell has life. Now, later on, the cell theory was proposed by Virchow, Scladden and Swan. In this theory, he said that all living organisms, number one, all living organisms are made up of cell. Number two, he said that cell has the basic structural unit of life. Number three, the cell has basic functional unit of life. Last, all the cells arises from its pre-existing cells. Now, like the way we are existed from our parents, similarly the new cells arise from its pre-existing cell. When we are talking about cell, we know that each and every cell has their own shape and size, which has their specific function. It is not like that all the cells are of same shape or they are of same size. No, they differ in their shape and size, and they perform in their different function. We will study little bit about it. That cell shape. First, we are talking about shape. Now, there are few types which I am going to explain you is the spindle shape. This cell shape is spindle shaped and elongated. Where do we get this spindle shaped and elongated cells? In the smooth muscle. Where do we get? In the smooth muscle. The spindle shaped and elongated cell we get in the smooth muscle. The long and branched cell means many cells. Which is the longest and branched cell? Nerve cell. Which is the longest cell? Nerve cell. This you need to learn because these are the frequent questions which are asked in the exam. Which is the longest cell? Nerve cell. Next is spherical. Spherical, you have seen in video or in your book somewhere or the other that RBC. What is RBC? RBC are red blood cells who transports oxygen to all the cells and tissues of the body. It has a pigment called hemoglobin which binds and transport in the form of an oxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin binds oxygen in the form of an oxyhemoglobin and it transports all the oxygen to the different cells and tissues of the body. So it is RBCs are spherical in shape. When the cell is single, when the cell is single, we call it unicellular. We call it unicellular. So single cell, what does it called? It is called unicellular. So unicellular, there are some example of unicellular, amoeba and paramecium. Okay. Now, when there are many cells, that we call as multicellular. Example, fungi. We are also example of multicellular. Like now we will go from here, we will go to tissue. Now what is tissue? When a group of similar cells, when they combine together, they perform a specific function. This is known as tissue. What is tissue? Consists of a group of structurally, very important, you need to write it down, consists of a group of structurally and functionally similar cells. That means they are structurally similar, and all these cells, when they are structurally similar, they will perform a specific function. This is called tissue. You have learned about the levels of organization, that many cells combine together to form an tissue. Many tissue combine together to form an organ. Organ combines together to form an organ system. Then organ system combines together to form an organism, which we are. Not only we, any living organism. Now, there are two types of cell. What are those two types of cell? One is prokaryotic cell, another is eukaryotic cell. What? Prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. Pro. Now, remember, whenever you listen this word, pro means primitive, karyotic, carrion. This carrion word, wherever you read carrion, that refers to nucleus. So, pro means primitive, carrion means nucleus. That means it has a primitive nucleus. We can say it that no true nucleus is found. You can write down, no true nucleus is found in prokaryotic cell. In this cell, these prokaryotic cells are unicellular. They are single celled. What do we call as unicellular? I have already told you, unicellular means single cell. So prokaryotes are unicellular. They don't have a nuclear membrane. They don't have a nuclear membrane. Their nuclear membrane is lacking. Okay, you can see that their genetic material is dispersed in the cytoplasm. Their genetic material is dispersed in the cytoplasm. It is scattered. Okay. So that we call it as a nucleoid. The genetic material which are present in the prokaryote cell, you can write down the genetic material which is present in the prokaryote cell is called nucleoid. Is called nucleoid. N-U-C-L-E-O-I-D. Nucleoid. Okay. Now you can see this tail-like structure. This is known as flagella. Okay, or flagella. Now, flagella helps in locomotion. It has a whiplash-like movement and it helps to propel. Okay. Now, we can see that there is one internal structure which we call it, internal membrane, which we call it as a plasma membrane. Plasma membrane allows only selective molecules to pass through. That means it is a semi-permeable membrane. It will not allow all the molecules to pass through. It will allow only the selective molecules to pass through. Cell wall. Cell wall is freely permeable. It allows all the molecules to pass in and out of this cell. Clear? Now, these are ribosomes. Ribosomes are known as a kitchen house of the cells. It is also known as, it helps in protein synthesis, which we will read later on in the next chapter, next class. Now, plasmid. Plasmid is an extra chromosomal circular DNA. Remember, student, there are 3 C in for plasmid. Plasmid is an extra chromosomal DNA which are present in the prokaryote cell. Closed, covalent, circular. Closed, covalent, circular. Triple C. Plasmid, closed, covalent, circular DNA. Now, these you can see a pili. This is known as pili. Pili helps in adhering the substances. It helps in adhering the another cells or the substances. Clear? This is clear. So, what have we learned in prokaryote cell? That nuclear membrane is absent. What? Nuclear membrane is absent. Also called nucleoid. Also called nucleoid. Membrane bound organelles are absent. Membrane bound organelles are absent. Now you will think that what is organelles? Organelles are the compartments or the components consisting in the cell. Whatever the components present in the cell, those are called organelles which are absent in the prokaryote cell. Very important point. In prokaryote cell, no true nucleus is present. That means nuclear membrane is absent and membrane bound organelles are absent. And the chromosome, this chromosome composed of nucleic acid, that is DNA. Chromosomes are composed of nucleic acid and that is called DNA. Now, cell eukaryotic. Prokaryotic we have read. Now we will read about eukaryotic cell. U means true. True. Eukaryotic. U means true and karyon means what I have said, told you all? Nucleus. So, true nucleus. That means in that case, true nucleus is found. Now, true nucleus is found. In this, the nucleus is present with the nuclear membrane. That means nuclear membrane is present and the genetic material is inside the nuclear membrane. Clear? And membrane bound organelles are present. All the membrane bound organelles, we have given some example, the organelles name, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus. These all are present in the eukaryotic cell. Clear? So what are the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell? In prokaryotic cell, no true nucleus is found. In eukaryotic cell, true nucleus is found. In prokaryote, nuclear membrane is absent. In eukaryote, the nuclear membrane is present. In prokaryote, your membrane bound organelles are absent. But in eukaryote, membrane bound organelles are present. These are unicellular, these can be multicellular. Example, plant cell, animal cell and so on. Now we will study about the sizes of cell. The smallest cell, this is also very important. The smallest cell is bacteria, which measures 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer in size. Okay? And the largest cell is eggs of an ostrich. It is a single cell. It is a unicellular. This is the only cell which we can see through our naked eyes. This is so large that we can see through our naked eye. This is why this is referred as the largest cell. Eggs of an ostrich. Now, we will come over here. Cell. You all have read from the junior section. You all have read throughout that there are two types of cell, plant cell, animal cell. In plant cell, the vacuous, just we will revise it, okay, because you have already read related to this organelles we will study in the next class. But just we will revise, we will do a quick revision that in plant cell, the vacuous are large. But in animal cells, if it is present, it would be small and few. This is one but large. In plant cell, there is an additional one membrane which is known as cell wall. Which is known as cell wall. And this cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cellulose. Now, in plant cell, only in plant cell, vacuole is large. Only in plant cell, the cell wall is present and the plastids are present. Now, what is plastid? Plastid is also a membrane-bound organelle. And these are of three types. Chromoplastid, chloroplastid, leucoplastid. Chromoplastid imparts color to the petals of the flower. You see beautiful flowers, marigold flower and hibiscus. You see the beautiful colors, red color, orange color. This is due to this chromoplastid present in it. This chromoplastid imparts color to the petals or fruits. Chloro. You all know that chloro word only comes from green. Chloro means green. So it imparts green color to the leaves. Leucoplastid is colorless. Leucoplastid is colorless. It stores starch. Now, animal cell. These animal cell has the vacuole, small vacuole, which I have already told you. Now, these are the organelles which both animal cell and plant cell has. Mitochondria, which is known as the powerhouse of the cell, where we get energy in the form of an ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Golgi apparatus, secretory or synthesizing material. Cell membrane, I have already told you, semi-permeable. Cytoplasm, where all the organelles are suspended. Nucleus, the brain house of the cell. the brain house of the cell, which controls all the activities of the cell. And inside the nucleus, you will get chromosome. Chromosome, DNA, genes. What happens? There are head-like structure. Then it coils. Then supercoiled. Then it forms a chromosome. Then it is called DNA. Then genes. So what is genes? You all know that genes are responsible for transfer of hereditary character from parent to offspring. I hope you have understood this chapter. If you have any query, please let me know. And next day we will read about the organelles. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.